Hey RT students, want to come back and talk about the HQ challenge number 9. I'm going to change things up this week. I'm going to always post 2 questions from here on out. So whatever content we're talking about, I'm going to post a question that's appropriate for a first year student and then a question that is more appropriate for a second year student. That way we can kind of make a distinction between recall and application versus analysis type questions. So let's just start with a very simple concept. During volume ventilation, now remember volume ventilation, that means we as the therapist are going to set the tidal volume, and that tidal volume won't change, okay? During volume ventilation, what will happen to the peak inspiratory pressures with an increase in airway resistance? All right, an increase in airway resistance means that the airway itself, the airways, have gotten smaller, okay? Then there's a resistance to airflow. So that reason it's gotten smaller could be bronchospasms, airway inflammation, increase secretions in the airway. But the bottom line is the airway is smaller, and now the vent has to push that same volume through a smaller airway, and it has to push harder, so the peak inspiratory pressures will increase. So that answer is A. And then we come to a little bit more of a challenging question dealing with the same type of concept, volume ventilation versus pressure ventilation. A patient in pressure control assist control mode, PCAC. Pressure control means we set the peak inspiratory pressure and it will not change. Okay, so just with that, I've just said the peak pressures won't change. So they won't increase and they won't decrease. All right, so PCAC mode, they develop a pneumothorax, so they have a collapsed lung. Which of the following is true? So we know the PIPs won't change, so the tidal volumes must have to do something. So what the tidal volumes will do, they will actually decrease because that PIP won't change. It's still going to push the same peak inspiratory pressure into the patient, but now with that collapsed lung, for that unit of pressure, it will not be able to push as much volume in, so therefore volume will decrease. So just a little differentiation between pressure ventilation and volume ventilation. If this is a topic you're struggling with, go to my YouTube channel, Respiratory HQ, and there are instructional videos. There's one specifically that dropped this week to explain the difference between pressure ventilation and volume ventilation, or you can go to my website, respiratoryhq.com, and enroll for this free instructional content. There's several videos there that explain key concepts that you're going to often see on the MBRC exam. So hope this helps. See you soon.